Okay, so good morning everyone and welcome back in today's class. Today we are going to be discuss again the next technique in the prioritization of the requirement, that how we can prioritize. Let me show you on the book. So we are on this techniques part and we almost done up to this estimations, right? Now the next technique which we are discussing here is called the financial analysis. As the name indicates, finance means the money has been involved here now. It is used to assess the financial value of a set of requirement and how the timings of delivery will affect that value. Now वो कहता है ना कि अगर टाइम पे कोई काम नहीं किया तो उसकी वैल्यू खत्म हो जाती है. The same thing applies here, but because that has some value. If there's a season going, festival season is going on, and your company did not launch the sale on that time, then the value for that sale is getting bit less. So what this says here, it is to be used to understand the financial aspect of an investment, a solution or solution approach. See what they're saying here, that requirement is there, but the solution it is a kind of an investment for them. You are investing the money in that particular thing. So financial analysis is the assessment of the accepted financial viability, stability and beneficiation of an investment option. भाई आप कोई भी format use करो, you use any kind of a solution or solution approach, you have to be checked that how viable it is, how stable it is and how benefit it is. If I say I want to buy a car, okay, everybody say you should buy a new car, not a second hand. Even though buying a car is an investment for me, but why they'll be saying that don't take second hand car? Because people know that if you buy a second hand car, it will not be good option. It is not viable. भाई 5 साल पुरानी कार तुम्हें 2 लाख में मिल रही है और 50,000 डालो तुम्हें नई कार मिल जाएगी. That is a viability part. Stability, that how long it will run for you. It's already 5 years old and after 2 years it is going to be off from the road. And the benefit of taking that. So ये 3 पैरामीटर्स पर आप अपना डिस्कशन करते हैं कि मुझे फाइनेंशियल्स कितना बेनिफिट हो सकता है, फाइनेंशियल्स जो मेरे टर्म्स हैं on that part, how I can get a it's not a return of investment, no, it is a analysis on the financial part. Okay, business analysts use the financial analysis to make a solution recommendation of an investment specific. बस इतना पैसा लग सकता है इसमें. I want to go to launch a metaverse for my company. During that time, I will do this financial analysis because it is going a big investment now. Lot of hiring, lot of team setups, tool may be integrated, tool need to be purchased, license need to be purchased. So all these things. So on the few parameters, what this says initial cost and the time frame in which those costs are incurred. When you're comparing, when you're doing this BA part, and they say here business use financial analysis to make a solution recommendation for an investment in a specific change initiative by comparing one solution. You compare one solution and the another solution. I want to go from Delhi to Bombay. Okay. From Delhi, I have my own car. I can take that car and reach to the airport. But from Bombay airport to my office or my home or my location, I have nothing. But in the return, same thing will be happen. From home to office to Bombay airport, I have to spend the money. But from Delhi to here, I don't have to spend the money. So now you have to understand that where that investment is getting, or the time is, or this cost is getting incurred. What is the time frame? Okay, that is the first parameter we have to be see. Expected financial benefits and the time frame. कि कब मुझे इस पर्टिकुलर चीज का बेनिफिट मिलना शुरू होगा. 6 महीने, 8 महीने, 2 साल, 1 साल, 5 महीने, these things. So now if I say that you guys are attending the training, it means you are investing your money in that. And when you start getting benefit, maybe immediately after training, maybe within the training, or maybe after the some time of the training. Ongoing cost using the solution and the supporting solution. कि अभी कितना खर्चा हो रहा है, जो जो करंट अप्रोच है उसमें क्या क्या खर्चा हो रहा है, क्या कैसे मैं उसको बिल्ड कर रहा हूँ. And finally the risk associated with the change initiative, that part. Okay, so these are the few parameters a BA need to be take care in his mind when he's defining the or doing the requirement prioritization. That is important. Now what are the factors which affecting it? Cost of the change. बॉस बेटर है कि मैं कार खरीदूं या सेकेंड हैंड कार खरीदूं, मैं नई कार खरीद लेता हूं. दैट इज द कॉस्ट ऑफ द चेंज. बिकॉज मैं इतने में इतना लूंगा, इससे अच्छा मैं इतने में इतना ले लेता हूं. जनरली वी पीपल डू. यार 5 साल पुरानी चीज है. लेट्स एग्जांपल, माय पेरेंट्स सेज दैट लेट्स हैव अ सेकंड हैंड कार. आई सेड ओके, यार तुम तो हो नहीं यहाँ पे, हम दोनों हैं, हम तो कितना चलाते हैं. लेट्स टेक अ सेकंड हैंड कार और 5-8 years old. I said that's too much. Even though you need to be go out, so you can hire a driver and you can take it. So what is the cost for that? It will be like a 150,000 something. I said let's put 1 lakh more and take a new car. If possible, I'll take it with me if later on required. So that is the cost of the change, that how much you are expecting on that particular item, that how much it will be cost to you. Okay, then the total cost of ownership. There is called TCO, is the cost to acquire a solution, cost of supporting the solution for the foreseeable for your future, and combine the help to understand that part. So in this, that they're saying the total cost. If I purchase some solution, acquire some solution, what is the cost of using that? Let's say if I purchase a car, it's a 2 lakh rupees. Cost of using that solution, every month I have to pay 2,000 rupees as an insurance. That is using the cost of the using. And then supporting part. Some VAT will be happen that way. So all these things I need to be considerate. And then need to be take a decision. Generally, these things not come to me until unless it is a complete new requirement. If I am a BAU, I never do this thing. बिकॉज काम तो चले जाना, BAU में तो पैसा लगता ही लगता है, और वो पैसा अलग से होता है. अलग से मीन्स that is a contract or the agreement has been done between the service provider and the customer. But if you want to launch a new product in the market, new flavor in the market, new type in the market, then you have to be understand this financial analysis as well. Specifically in the product part, this has been taken care. Then the valuation, कि बॉस मुझे बेनिफिट कब आना शुरू होगा, कितना बेनिफिट होगा. And at last, cost benefit analysis. You see that how much cost you will be putting and how much benefit you will be achieving here. So this is the things we have to be taken in this part. So like this, they have to do the cost benefit analysis. भाई अपने वाला हिसाब किताब कि कितना कॉस्ट है, कितना पड़ेगा, कैसे कैसे होगा. ठीक है. So these things. And at last, फाइनेंशियल कैलकुलेशंस होती हैं, टैक्सेस कितने होंगे, वीएटीआर कितना होगा, डेप्रिसिएशन कितना होगा, देन वी मेक अ डिसीजन एंड फाइनली आरओआई विद द कंप्लीट फैक्ट्स एंड फिगर्स कि बॉस इतना मुझे आरओआई आएगा. मोर द आरओआई इज बेटर द इन्वेस्टमेंट, एंड मोर इन्वेस्टमेंट मीन्स मोर रिस्क है, जितना पैसा लगाओगे उतना रिस्क भी हो जाता है. ठीक है. There are the few formulas thing, discount rate, present value. We don't need to be go in that particular area because it is completely on the financial part. So if I'm a BA from the service now side, I will not do this thing. No, I will just ask my financial BA to support me or help me to understand these things, and he give me the facts and figures which we take a decision there. Payback period, benefits, yes, financials will is be available for everyone to be see, cost benefit will be there, but sometimes we forget the unforeseen cost as well. कि boss अगर ऐसा हो गया, let's say I'm going to be launch a new product on 25th of December, and on 19th or 20th December government say you cannot launch these kind of products. It completely gone. So these are the cost and benefit. These are the cost which is difficult to identify that how much it will be lost. Okay. So generally on the overall picture, in my experience, I never use these techniques because I'm not a financial BA. It requires a lot of financial things, discussion on the big facts, figures specifically from the finance part. So finance team do these things and then they come to us. And this is mainly used for the new or the scratch requirement, which is बिल्कुल start पे जो रहती है वहां से. Now come back to here. Interviews we already discussed. With a small or the larger group you can take the interviews. Item tracking, it is another technique in the prioritization part. It says it is used to capture and assign the responsibility for issues and the stakeholder concern. या तुम टाइम पे डिलीवर नहीं करते हो, क्वालिटी फाइल है, डिफेक्ट्स बहुत सारे आ रहे हैं. These are the called the issues and concerns which impact on the solution part. When I click on this button, it takes 5 minutes to be load the form. Now these are the issues. These are not the requirement. These are the issues which are impacting the solution directly. It means your product, your code quality is not good. You did not optimize the code. Your code is not well written, or as per the standards, I can say. Okay. So what are the elements here? Elements means that if someone say it is not working, what are the attributes for that particular issue? So it says the item identifier. What is the meaning of the item identifier? Is that a unique identifier that distinguishes one item from the another one. Okay. Means a kind of a number, a unique number will be there. Summary होगा, उसका category होगा, उसका type होगा, उसका identify होगा, उसका impact होगा. Means these are the small things which we used or which we take, which understand when you're creating any defect. Specifically, item tracking means it is kind of a defect only. Okay, nothing more than that, and every defect has a something on the place. When I say something on the place means every defect has some kind of attributes, and these are the example of that particular attribute list. Okay. Now, if I scroll down a little bit more, item management. Item management means that when your stakeholder is raising any concern, okay, when your stakeholder is raising any concern, how you are going to be manage that? Are we going to take that particular item in our current sprint, how you're recording that, how you're tracking that specifically. That is called the item management. It should not be duplicate. I already have that problem or issue in my list, and someone else is also raised this concern or raised the same point. It should not be duplicate. So you have to be manage that part. You have to manage that item. The next one that's come here is called the metrics. How you measure that. सिंपल है, मतलब आप सोचो आइटम ट्रैकिंग का मीन्स क्या है यहाँ पर कि बॉस आपने कुछ डेवलप किया, आपने उसको कस्टमर को दिया और उसने उसके डिफेक्ट रेज करने शुरू कर दिए, उसके इशू रेज करने शुरू कर दिए. नाउ हाउ यू रिकॉर्ड द इश्यूज, उसके 10-12 पैरामीटर्स यहाँ एट्रीब्यूट्स यहाँ दिए. How to do this part, item management, you have to be see, it should not be duplicate. And finally, how you measure that, कितने solve हो गए, कितने reopen हो रहे हैं, किससे कितना benefit मिल रहा है. So that is the metric part. And usage, definitely it's a runtime. Sometimes users start taking a small issues which are not going to be impact anywhere, but they want it to be recorded, which increase the unnecessary backlog in my item tracking. क्लियर हो गया यहाँ तक भाई? कोई डाउट?
All okay.
So item tracker is just action items tracker or whatever. मतलब
Kind of
tracker के
things.
जैसा maintain करना है.
Yes, only that.
But only we need to check whether duplications है या नहीं अपने tracker के साथ.
हाँ, duplication है कि नहीं है, valid है कि नहीं है, all these things will be there.
Okay, ठीक है.
Okay. Now the next one that is called the prioritization. It says that it is a framework which tell user or the business or the stakeholder that which priority, which requirement is important. Okay, I'm not sure that why this concept is separately or this technique is separately different. We already have discussed this thing. So what they say is you can do the prioritization on the basis of the grouping. कि भाई सारे जो यूजर फाउंडेशन डेटा वाला उसको एक ग्रुप कर देते हैं. Or you can use the ranking. In the grouping you can do the ranking as well. Also in the ranking you can do the budgeting part. ऐसा नहीं है कि इसमें से एक ही यूज होगा, इसमें से सारे भी यूज होते हैं, इसमें एक एक करके कोई भी टेक्निक यूज हो सकती है मेरा प्रायोरिटाइजेशन करने के लिए. एंड नेगोशिएशन मींस if I do this thing, will it the impact on this and how much budget it is going to be impact. So these are the 4 approaches which they're saying that you can use to classify the prioritization. Boss, group wise कर लो, ranking कर लो, budget wise कर लो या negotiation wise कर लो. Negotiation means ठीक है ना, कर लेते हैं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. And what they're saying, determine importance of the business analysis information based on the value, risk, difficulty to implement or the other criteria. If you remember that we have these 4 points in the beginning of this topic, that these are the 4 points which is required for the prioritization. And what this says in this approach, grouping means high, medium, low priority you can do. Ranking means 1 to 10, least to most important or most important to the least. Budgeting means time और money कितना लगेगा इसको करने में. और negotiation means stakeholder are requesting to do this thing on the priority. Means it is something of a kind of a boundary level. It is not a boundary level. It is totally depend on the negotiation skills of you and the स्टेकहोल्डर. नहीं बॉस पहले ये करते हैं, फिर ये करते हैं, फिर ये करते हैं. उसको ग्रुपिंग से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, उसको रैंकिंग से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, उसको बजट से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, उसको अपने काम से फर्क पड़ रहा है कि बॉस मुझे ये चीजें पहले चाहिए. एंड टू डू दिस पार्ट वी हैव अ ऑडियंस नीड्स एंड ओपिनियन. अब इसको करने के लिए टू डू दिस पार्ट आई एम नॉट द ओनली वन. आई नीड द हेल्प फ्रॉम माई and the help from my stakeholders, my technical teams as well, my dev leads as well on that part. And only then I go and make this as a grouping, ranking or budgeting part of the negotiation. I'll do that. What are the elements involved? Simple, he's repeating all the things again and again and again. Grouping, which we discussed, is a high, medium, low priority. Ranking 1 to 10, 10 to 15 kind of things. Budgeting with the concept of the how much time it will take, how much effort it will take, and negotiation means what customer is saying on the basis of their experience, and we are doing the requirement prioritization on that part. गुड टू गो है, एवरीबडी इन्वॉल्वमेंट हो जाता है, बट लिमिटेशन क्या है, कई बार इट इज डिफिकल्ट टू चूज दैट शैल वी गो बाय द ग्रुपिंग और द रैंकिंग, क्योंकि जब आप कंपेयर करते हो रिक्वायरमेंट्स को, यू आर बी सी दैट ये बोथ दीज बोथ आर इंपॉर्टेंट. नाउ हाउ टू टेक दैट पार्ट, how to take that requirement upfront or the going forward or the in the next sprint or maybe the upcoming sprints kind of things. So these are some kind of limitations here, but it depends. Like in my sprint, I use the ranking part. I'll not say the ranking, basically I use the grouping part. Every requirement I set high, medium, and low. And when we are kickstart our sprint, I discuss with the technical leads and the dev leads, guys, there's a lot of points in this sprint. We need to be take out some stories. And then we start evaluating with the value perspective. अच्छा इसका वैल्यू कितना अगर मैं इसको भी डिलीवर नहीं करूंगा, ये किसने रिक्वेस्ट किया है, उससे बात करके देखते हैं, नेगोशिएशन करके देखते हैं. So these are things we are using in day out easily. Now, risk analysis and the management. It is said that whenever you're doing the prioritization, you always have this factor in your mind that is called the risk management, uncertainty, any negative effect. Analyze and evaluate the uncertainty and develop the manage of that part. इसमें मेनली 4 पैरामीटर जो हमारे आते हैं, 3 से 4. Risk identification, let come here. Risk identification, if you remember that we discussed about a concept called the RAID log, RAID, risk assumption, information and decision. So that is called the RAID log. So what they're saying, that in your prioritization, you always make sure that you have a risk register. What is the risk? What is the consequences? What is the probability, impact, risk level, risk modification plan, risk honor? It is residual risk or not? Generally, when we kick off or when we start these things, we go for the simple risk register. Someone use like this, like I use the RAID log, a specific standard has been given, and I follow that part only. So it depends that what type of format you want to use, but they say that you have to be, when you're doing the prioritization, you have to be ready with the risk register as well, to make sure that what is the consequences if I did not develop this part. Who is the taking this risk on that part? Who is the honor for that? What is the probability that it will be happen? What is the impact if it happen? And what is the risk level if it happen? So these things we have to be used. A lot of companies are using the risk register. They have on the day one, if you're a BA, you should be ready with the risk register on the day one. Guys, I'm putting everything on the risk register, so that tomorrow if something goes wrong, it should not come to me as a fault that you did not tell us that this is where the things are with there. So those things, and then analyze that risk. It's a medium, it's a high, it's a low. These things you can do. Low impact, you have to be define the scales as well, that what is the low impact means, what is the medium impact means, what is the high impact means, irrespective of the scope, with respect to the quality, with respect to the cost, efforts, duration, reputation, social responsibility. Multiple things are there. Okay. So these things we have to be do. Sometimes this will be taken care by the PM on the project level. Also need to be taken care by us as well. Okay. Clear यहाँ तक? कोई doubt? बताओ भाई, कोई doubt clear है यहाँ तक?
No, no.
No, Atul, no doubt so far.
Okay, good. Then you evaluate and then you treat that risk. Is it avoid? It can be transferred, it can be mitigated, it can be accepted, it can be increased. These things. Okay. So these things we have to be take care, we have to understand, and then it will work for us. But yes, risk Analysis is one of the important point a BA should understand. BA should know these things. Otherwise, it is going to be a problem on the later on for the BA. Strengths, yes, benefit मिलता है आपको, clear visibility मिल जाती है, but the drawback is that it is tough to evaluate each and every risk on the beginning. Also, you cannot add each and every risk in the register as well. चाहे बहुत ही छोटा हो लेकिन आप ऐड नहीं करते, ठीक है, तो अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, तो assumption माना जा सकता है, तो वैसा ठीक. And the workshops which we discussed earlier, that you can create a workshops here where you can set up a group of people and you can work together. Now to do the prioritization part, who are my stakeholders involved here? Almost everyone. Because you have to do the risk assessment, then you need the stakeholder. You have to do the prioritization, you need a stakeholder. So almost each and everyone involved here, directly or indirectly. And what output it will become? It will give you the prioritize requirement, prioritize design. It means this is the way, this is the ranking, this is the sequence of the requirement I'm going to be work now. That I'm getting after the this particular step will be completed. Clear guys? Any doubt on this prioritization part? Suraj
Nope.
and Hitesh. Good. Now we'll take the assessment. Okay. बस हो गया ये सारा काम. Let's do the assess. What assess I'm going to do? The purpose of assess requirement changes is to evaluate the implication of proposed changes to the requirement and design. Evaluate the implication of proposed changes to the requirement and design. The purpose of assess requirement changes. See, it is not saying I'm assessing the requirement. No. आपका requirement already आ गया है. Like I said, guys, let's change the timing of our training now. This is a change in the requirement. It is not a new requirement. Requirement तो पहले हो गया कि बस अपना क्लास इस टाइम से इस टाइम होगा. Once the designing has been started, development has been started, then I say no, I want some changes in that requirement. That is the thing they're seeing. Assess requirement changes. It did not say assess requirement. No, it says assess requirement changes. That what you are changing in the requirement at point of time, to assess that, to check that implement implications, to evaluate that implications. भाई आपने in your project you start hiring for 30 people. You hired, and as soon as the project has been kicked off, customer changed the requirement. I don't want to be use the .NET, I want to use the Java. Now you're blank because you hired only the .NET resources, all the resources. So to do this part, you have to evaluate the implications. And assess requirement changes task is performed as a new need or the possible solution are identified. हो सकता है कस्टमर ने ही प्रपोज किया, हो सकता है कि द सॉल्यूशन वी आर बिल्डिंग नीड टू बी redefined. That is called the assess the requirement changes. Like I give example, we are working on a concept where ServiceNow give us a new way of working now, new way of using that functionality, which is going to be changed the drastic in our designing now. So we are evaluating, shall we go with this or not? What is the implication? Cost wise, effort wise, risk wise, future wise, maintenance wise. So we're doing that evaluation now. So what it is saying that if we are getting a changes, you should be consider these points aligned with the overall strategy. Let's see that the changes is coming in the requirement. Is it be aligning with my tool, with my strategy or not? Affect value delivered to the business or the stakeholder groups. How this is going to be affect my stakeholder specifically. And the other point we should discuss is the impact part. Sorry, impact on time to deliver that part. Maybe we need new resources for the same. And is it be changing anything in the risk, opportunity, or constraints as well? This is important. This is very important. It is not like that customer ने बोला तो ले लो requirement. नहीं, change करो तो requirement. ऐसा कभी नहीं होता. We have to be evaluate these things. We have to be follow these few parameters. And now, what are the elements in this? What is the proposed change? Let me show you the diagram here. It says these are the inputs. What is the proposed change? Because you already have a prioritization, you already have a prioritized design. Now you have a changes are coming. What is the proposed change? To take this into the consideration, you have to do the some guidelines. You should know the change strategy. You should have a domain knowledge. Few points are similar which we discussed earlier. And these guidelines help you to build to do the assessment of the requirement changes. And after that, you get a requirement change assessment and you get the design change assessment. कि बॉस इसके होने से इन चीजों में ये फर्क पड़ेगा. So these two things we have to be take care here then. Okay, now let scroll down and to understand, go for the technique specifically. Elements, assessment formality. You have to be do, or we have to be do as a BA, the complete assessment, because you are the one who is getting that requirement. So you know better than anyone that if this requirement gets changed now, what is the impact is going. Means, see, impact analysis is the second part. I am doing the assessment now. कि बॉस ये हो सकता है change if I put this proposed changes in the system. That is the assessment formality. आप assess कर रहे हो. If I need to travel to Bombay to Delhi tomorrow morning. I have a flight book. In the night, my friend called, hey, can you come to Patna first? Then you can go that to Bombay and then to Delhi. This is a new assess. This is a new proposed change, and I am doing the assessment on this part. अच्छा मुझे क्या क्या करना पड़ेगा, मुझे कैब चेंज करनी पड़ेगी, मुझे अपने कपड़े रखने पड़ेंगे 2 दिन के, और मुझे ये करना पड़ेगा, मुझे वो करना पड़ेगा. That is the assessment you're doing. And at last, and the next part, not last, basically, in the next part, you're doing the impact of that. If I make a change in my plan, then how it is going to be impact, what benefit I am getting, what cost I am accruing, what is the impact on the all upcoming or the existing processes, what is the schedule for this, what is the urgency for this. So on these 5 or 6 parameters, you do the impact कि बॉस मुझे फर्क क्या क्या किस किस एरिया में फर्क पड़ेगा. And then impact resolution. Impact resolution. After evaluating all the things, you start working on the resolutioning part. Okay, fine. Let me get approval from these stakeholders. Let me get the sign off from these stakeholders. I propose them that boss, what is now, what we are going to be changed now. Because ऐसा नहीं कि आपके मन में आपने बदल दे, नहीं. You have to be take a decision. You have to be communicate the decision to each and every stakeholder who are involved in that particular group or area. So that is called the impact resolutioning part. Then guidelines, which we already discussed earlier as well, that these are the few guidelines which you have to be take care. It should be aligned with the vision or the mission of the company or the goal. Domain knowledge, governance approach, regulatory parts which we discussed, requirement architecture. You should know that how the requirement has been designed, defined, and basically designing has been done earlier. What is the solution scope? Is this scope is this solution proposed changes are the part of my scope or not? It is not mentioned anywhere in SOW. Then you cannot take that. Now what is the techniques to do that part? Business case, yes, we discussed that it should be come into the it is come to you in a proper way of the business case. It should have an assumption, it should have a risk, it should have a constraints, everything should be there. Then it come to us, which we discuss all, which we already discussed here. Business analysis rules and policies. Now this is the benefit because we already discussed all these techniques. Business rules analysis means you have a policies, you have a rules to how to revise this, how to update this, how to accept this, how to track this. These are the rules here. Decision, you can take a tree format, you can take a group kind of format which we discussed I guess 2 days back. Document analysis, try to understand from the previous documents that how it's going to be impact. Estimations, just yesterday only we discussed that how to do the estimates on these requirements, maybe cost benefit risk, all the things estimates. Financial analysis discussed today, mainly on the other parts of the these things, costing and risk and all the things will be there. Interface analysis, let's see, we did not do this thing, right? The interface we done. Why, when, who, by whom, or who, how this information will be exchanged between two components. So if let's say I'm getting a new solution, in this proposed solution I need to be update my interfaces as well, my portal as well, my websites as well, my app as well. Then I have to do the interface analysis here. Then interviews, close-ended, open-ended, with a set of groups people you can take it. Item tracking, if any issue come into that picture. Risk analysis and management, which we just discussed. It can be grouping, it can be ranking kind of things. Workshops, gather the people and do the things at the within the one-to-one or in or physical or the virtual. You can do the workshop with a set of people and understand the impact. See, in the requirement changes, the main thing is that impact analysis. The deeper you do the impact analysis, you will understand the need of that proposed change or not. And this is the core area of the BA. It is not like कि भाई जब change होगा तभी मुझे ऐसे करना है. Even though when you're working on a fresh requirement, then also you can do this thing part. You can follow this technique and you can get the requirement crisp and clear. And to do this thing, I have a multiple stakeholder in my list. And what is the output? That the recommendation to approve, modify, or deny a proposed change. See, it did not say that you will get a approve. Maybe the solution you are proposing, maybe the changes are coming, is not be accepted by everyone. So it has been rejected. It can be proposed or it can be modified as well. And in the same manner, you have a design format as well. Design will be approve, reject, or what will be happen, that will be considered on output of the this particular step. Now tell me, any doubt, any question, any clarification required here on this part. Sometimes it's good that okay, small topic is completed because the techniques are repetitive now.
Atul, in case the changes gets denied, what in that case?
It's denied is denied.
Is
Then
denied.
then being a good BA, you if you are expert in that area, then you will put or you will do the analysis in such a manner that you should not be denied.
Okay.
But in case denied, try to go for some alternatives as well.
Got it.
I tell you one example. I want to bring one of the value stream on the service now, or one of the team on the service now. After 2, 3, 4 workshops, what we concluded, there's a big chunk which they're doing manually as of now. And customer says, guys, remove this part. Let's keep it as a manual for the time being and build the solution on the rest of the solution in the service now. So we see that if I did not do this thing in the service now, that big chunk of the manual part will not, if I'll not bring that into the service now, what will the impact? There is no impact because customer आज भी manually कर रहा है.
Correct.
तो अगर आज भी मैनुअल कर रहा है तो बॉस को अभी लाने की क्या जल्दी है? जो कर रहा है वो जो चल रहा है वो चलने दो, बाकी प्रोसेस हम रेडी कर देते हैं. Tomorrow when my process will be built up, my tool will be built up, then I'll start working on the that manual part कि बॉस उसमें से कितना कितना चंक करके मैं लेके आ सकता हूँ अपने पास. मुझे होलसेल ऑल, लेकिन हो सकता है कि उसको करने के लिए मुझे अपना कुछ वर्क फ्लोज या चेंज मैनेजमेंट में कुछ चेंजेस भी करने पड़े. बट I have some alternatives as well, right? So deny होना बहुत मुश्किल होता है. Deny तब होता है जब कॉस्टिंग बहुत ज्यादा हो जाए, आपका रीवर्क बहुत ज्यादा हो जाए, एफर्ट्स डबल ट्रिपल हो जाए, मतलब जो आपने डेवलप किया उसको दोबारा सब डेवलप करना पड़े. Then it got denied. Then we go for the alternative. मतलब कि क्लियर कट डिनाई nobody will do. Everybody propose that guys let's do not this way, let's modify the way like this only. अगर सड़क सीधी होती लोगों को डर लगता है भाई इतना चलना पड़ेगा. यू जस्ट मेक अ टर्न. पीपल थिंक अरे ये तो ठीक है हो जाएगा, ये एक टर्न मुड़ा दूसरा टर्न मुड़ा हो गया. सो दैट इज द ऑल्टरनेटिव यू डूइंग, राइट? ठीक है, उसमें एफर्ट थोड़े लगेंगे, टर्निंग देना, उसको शेप देना, उसके साथ बॉर्डर सेट करना इज रिक्वायर्ड, बट स्टिल यू आर एबल टू अचीव योर डिजायर्ड आउटपुट देयर.
So even those efforts will be counted.
दैट क्यों नहीं काउंट होंगे? पैसा लग रहा है भाई.
Okay.
In a practical world, when I work with my developers, I said guys, don't work on a requirement until unless you have a story for the same in the tool. बोलेगा तो हो जाएगा बॉस, मुझे पता हो जाएगा, तुम एक्सपर्ट हो, बट हाउ यू विल शो योर एफर्ट्स आफ्टर दैट इफ देयर इज नो रिकॉर्ड ऑफ प्लेस? आपकी चार्जेबिलिटी आपकी स्टोरीज पे होती है क्योंकि उसमें आपके एफर्ट्स दिखते हैं. So these are the things which we have to be strict. I know that customer is facing issue, I need to just update a code by 1 or 2 words only. It will work for them, but I will not do. I'll get a story and we'll put it then. Because efforts है मेरा वो, right? So each and every effort has been counted here. That isn't they're saying that when you'll be doing this thing part, assessment part, you have to do the impact analysis. What you're doing in the impact, these things only. Cost कितना होगा, benefit कितना होगा, efforts कितने लगेंगे मुझे, मेरा शेड्यूल कैसे चेंज हो जाएगा, right? Now once we done the assessment of the requirement changes, and finally we are going to be approve the requirements. Approval means getting a final sign off from the customer or the stakeholder that boss, this is what we discuss, this is what we are going to be build now, this is what we are be doing from the signed SOW way of working. After the workshops we are closing this part and we are looking for the approval from your perspective. It should be a formal approval. My stakeholder is good person, I know him, but it doesn't mean that okay कर दे भाई हो जाएगा. नहीं, boss, I'm sending you formal email, you just reply back to me on that email. In few of the companies where in 1 or 2 of the companies where I work, if I have a requirement, they send to the customer a PDF format, and on that PDF customer signed digitally. Until unless that is not signed, I'm not allowed to start the work. Up to that much the companies have a policies. So in this approve means things has been discussed, doubts has been clarified, impact has been done, costing has been done, budgeting has been done, everything has been done. Now it's time to be take sign off. कैसे ट्रैक होगा, कौन ट्रैक करेगा, क्या रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होगी, सारा हमने डिस्कस करने के बाद वो सेंड अ फॉर्मल वे. This is the key job of a BA. Being a BA, if someone asks me that what is the source of truth for this information. If I have a document for the same, I say this is a source of truth for me. If no, then anybody can kick me out. क्योंकि मेरा तो काम ही वही है. Being a process consultant, I always work on the documentation. I give one example. Let's say you're crossing a signal. The signal is red and you're crossing that. And you're caught by a policeman or that traffic police person. He will charge a fine to you now. Right? आप बोलोगे भाई क्यों फाइन लगा रहा है? बॉस आपने तो सिग्नल क्रॉस किया, उसका चालान बनता है. लिखा कहाँ पे है ये? He will show you the legal document as per the section 156 or this as per this, if any person is breaking the law or breaking the signals, crossing the signals, he or she need to be paid the penalty of this much amount. He has a document. He will charge you. But on the other side, let's say you are driving very in a good manner and some policeman or this person caught you. He said, guys, show me your license. You don't have a license that time. He says, boss, बिना license के गाड़ी चला रहे हो, चालान बनेगा. You have a right to stop him. Wait. As per the law, you cannot put the challan on me. Let me call to my brother and bring that license here. There's some clauses in our law which can save you. Then how you will be saving yourself? If you know that document, if you have that document. Okay, so we'll not go in that part, but in these particular things, I need to get an approval, clear-cut approval. These things. Ensuring clear communication of the requirement, design, and other business and information to the key stakeholder responsible for approving that information. Abhi approve hui nahi requirements. I am just sending that email. I'll not say email is also a wrong word. I'm communicating. Because हम email use करते हैं इसलिए email करना, but email is not the right word. It should be communication, and communication can be in any way. Okay, so what are the inputs and outputs for this? Let's scroll down. Input, all the requirement which you verified, designs you verified, you approve is one of the element here, or the one of the major factor here, or the activity here, and then you get the approved requirements. And how it will be approved? Your change strategy. कितने महीने में कितनी बार होगा अप्रूवल का प्रोसेस. गवर्नेंस अप्रोच कौन कौन इसको अप्रूव करेगा, किस किस लेवल पे अप्रूवल जाएगा. व्हाट इज द लीगल एंड द व्हाट आई कैन से लीगल एंड द रेगुलेटरी इंफॉर्मेशंस कि लीगली ये कैसे अप्रूव होगा. इट विल साइन इन अ पीडीएफ फॉर्मेट और इट्स डिजिटली साइन, अ स्कैन कॉपी विल बी देयर, देन where it has been kept, and finally what is the solution scope of this particular approval process कि मुझे किस किस के ऊपर अप्रूवल लेना है. मेजर डिजाइन्स पे लेना है, मेजर रिक्वायरमेंट्स पे लेना है, इश्यूज पे भी लेना है कि नहीं, वो सब चीजें यहाँ पे सॉल्यूशन स्कोप में लिखा जाता है मेरा. अंडरस्टैंड द स्टेक होल्डर रूल, काम ही खत्म हो जाता है यहाँ पे. द सेकेंड डे टॉपिक, स्टेक होल्डर मैनेजमेंट. हियर द नीड कम. If you remember, Suraj, you missed that class, but Hitesh, you remember that we have 9 different animals, right, in our stakeholder management. हितेश कहाँ गए? म्यूट पे हैं शायद आप.
Here, Atul. I was speaking on you.
Okay, so in the understand stakeholder role, if you remember that on the day 2 or day 3 we discussed this part, right, that we have a 9 type of the stakeholders, and here the need actually come. Which stakeholder need to approve this? That is the important here. It is an elephant, it is a turtle, it is a penguin, it is a cat, it is a dog. What type of stakeholder it is, we have to be defined here. Now the problem come it is not going to be close it here. The problem come here, conflict and the issue management. When you send for the approval, it may again go for the some conflicts with the other stakeholders, and you have to be tackle that part. Hey, I'm not approving this all requirements, only 50%. What happened? Why is the conflict now? What is not clear? Or let me redefine the communication again with the clear and core concepts so that you can approve it. Maybe the wordings I'm using in the communication is not giving the correct information to the stakeholders when they're reading this particular communication. Then the conflict come and issue can be occur and we have to do the issue tracking as well. ओके ठीक है, आप एक काम करिए, आप 50 आप 100 में से ना 30-40 का बोलता, मैं 30-40 का देता हूँ अप्रूवल. ओके बाकी के लिए लेट्स गो एंड ओपन इशू ट्रैकर एंड लेट गेट क्लैरिफाइड सो दैट वी कैन गेट अ अप्रूवल ऑन द रिक्वायरमेंट. बट जनरली ऐसा होता नहीं है. ये वाला सारा पार्ट वर्कशॉप्स में या इससे पहले वाले फेजेस में निकल जाता है. यहाँ तक आते आते प्रॉब्लम होता नहीं है until unless if someone new joined the project, he or she don't have any background and then he start thinking from his perspective. Otherwise it's all goes good. Then gain consequences. Business analysts are responsible for ensuring that stakeholders with the approval authority understand and accept the requirement. ये important point है यहाँ पे. ऐसा नहीं you just send an email and you get approval. No, you have to make sure that they understand that what we are delivering, because in this particular step the stakeholders are not the operation guys, are not the lul or are not the freshers or kind of things. These are the guys who are having final authority. MDs हो सकते हैं आपके, CEO CTOs kind of things हो सकते हैं, डायरेक्टर्स हो सकते हैं, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट्स होते हैं, वाइस डायरेक्टर्स हो सकते हैं. So these people are involved here who are not directly involved in the requirement gathering, but you need a sign off from them, so that it's your responsibility to make sure that all the requirement which is mentioning should be clearly understood by the stakeholder. We have a workshops for these things as well. You will not believe. I have a workshop for the approvals. I spent 1 week to gather the requirement. I spent 1 week to analyze and all the things, and I spent 3 days to get all the requirements to be approved. A problem क्या होता है जब ये phase आता है ना, then also requirement gets changed. ये another problem होता है. क्यों? क्योंकि यहाँ पर जो stakeholders हैं आपके, they're on the very high level positions. उनको ground level पे ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा कि क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं हो रहा. They think from the money perspective. They think from the time perspective. They think from the impact perspective, which you or the lower or the other guys to whom you're interacting, they do not know or they do not understand completely. So ये भी एक major problem है. And I'm sure that you definitely find this is in your day-to-day life as well. And finally, track and the communicate approval. ठीक है बॉस, मैं अपडेट करके भेजता हूँ डॉक्यूमेंट. आई विल पुट दिस थिंग्स कमेंट्स. डॉक्यूमेंट रिव्यू होता है मल्टीपल पार्ट्स, मल्टीपल लाइंस में. And one more thing you have to be learn here is that if we are doing the documentation part, you should know that in a Word file there is a concept called the track changes. Okay, we follow these policies. We follow that way to do. Let me show you here. Word. Okay, let me open this thing. So there's a concept called this thing review. This one, track changes for everyone. Now how this work? Let's say this is the track changes in documents में कमेंट्स की जगह ट्रैक चेंजेस चलते हैं कि मुझे क्या क्या चेंजेस करने, सो दैट आई कैन ट्रैक विद माय स्टेक होल्डर्स. दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड दिस जर्नी आई वाज नॉट अवेयर. मैंने क्या किया, डॉक्यूमेंट आया, उसने बोला चेंजेस कर, मैंने चेंजेस करके भेज दिए. जब सेकंड टाइम वो कस्टमर के पास गया, बोला ए मेरे पुराने वाले कमेंट्स हैं. मैं कहूँ तो मैंने आपको डिलीट कर दिए. क्यों भाई? ही सेज कीप द ट्रैक चेंजेस. ये ट्रैक चेंजेस कब रिमूव होते हैं? जब आपका पूरा डॉक्यूमेंट एकदम क्लियर हो जाए. देन यू गो हियर एंड यू डू द all except all these things, except these changes. So now this is what I'm expecting now कि बस पुराने की जगह नया वर्ड ये होगा. ठीक है. So by this way you do the tracking in that part. It's not the tracking which we are discussing here, but this is the way that we follow in the word file. Then the few guidelines which is required here is change strategy, governance approach, regulatory, which we discussed already. Techniques are important. छोटी सी हैं लेकिन let's have a discussion on that part. Workshops which we discuss, review we already discussed, item tracking we discussed, decision analysis we discussed. Now acceptance and evaluation criteria, more important, because if you are approving any request, you are approving any requirement, you should know that when this requirement will be accepted and will go for the further part. Acceptance criteria. Okay, when you will say that Atul yes, or when I say this training is over now, what is the criteria? Number one, it should be minimum 30 days has been completed. Number two, the agenda you shared should be completed. And number three, we should have at least basic knowledge of the BA part. That is the acceptance criteria now. If agenda is not completed and I say guys training is over, you will not accept that part because Atul, you are not meeting the criteria which you mentioned in the acceptance part. भाई अगर कोई मुझे बोले नहीं अतुल आपकी ट्रेनिंग से जॉब मिलना चाहिए तभी मैं बोलूंगा ट्रेनिंग हो गई मेरी, मैंने लिखा ही था ऐसा कहीं पर, because that is not acceptance criteria for me or neither I'm giving to my stakeholders. So every requirement must have a acceptance criteria. You should clearly mention the outcome conditions. If those conditions fulfill, then I can say yes, my requirement has been completed. And the problem is that in this technique, it is tough to define the acceptance criteria for each and every requirement, or maybe the overall picture you can do, but each and every requirement is going to be tough क्योंकि यहाँ पे writing बहुत करनी पड़ती है. ठीक है. Acceptance and evaluation criteria defines measures of the value attributes to the used for assessing, comparing solution and the alternative designs. इसमें सारा काम इसी का ही है. बस आपको मेजर करना है बेनिफिट क्या हो रहा है आपको, वैल्यू क्या हो रही है आपको, और वो कैसे होगा जब आप कंपेयर करते हो कि पिछला वैल्यू क्या था और अभी का वैल्यू क्या है मेरा. देन यू डू दिस पार्ट. It is a describe the minimum set of requirement that must be met in order to particular solution. Same thing, अगर इस ट्रेनिंग के 30 आवर्स पूरे हो गए तो आई कैन से गाइस ट्रेनिंग ओवर, क्योंकि मेरा काम था 30 घंटे का वो मैंने कर दिया. But you will say no, no Atul, you have one more criteria. I said what? The agenda should be completed. So it is a minimum set. अगर दोनों हो गए then you can say yes, training is over. Job लगी नहीं लगी समझ में आया कि नहीं आया, that is not your problem. But these are the minimum set of kind of a acceptance criteria I can put it here. Evaluation, wrong word. Evaluation. Define a set of measurement which allow for ranking the solution and the value. Now how you will evaluate. यार मेरे को देखा, मैंने पिछले 1 महीने में ना मेरा वे ऑफ थिंकिंग चेंज हो गया चीजों को लेके. शायद इस ट्रेनिंग की वजह से हुआ क्योंकि आई एम गेटिंग मोर इनसाइट्स नाउ इन द बिजनेस. आई एम इवेल्युएटिंग दैट पार्ट नाउ. What value I'm getting? Maybe after 2 days or in the first 2-3 days you're getting bored, मजा नहीं आ रहा. But when we started the kickoff, the actual requirement part, you're understanding, you're enjoying, and you're using those things in your day-to-day life as well. So that is the evaluated criteria for you, evaluation criteria for you. What value I'm getting now? There's a when I say guys understand, you said yes. It means you are accepting my evaluation criteria. That what information I want to pass to you, you guys are understanding it completely. What are the elements in this? Value element. Value means something important, something I'm getting is called the value here. Maybe directly, maybe indirectly. So what they say is examples, ability to provide a specific information. Now, if I say, guys, how's your life going on in the office after this training? Atul, it's superb now. People are praising me. People are approaching me. It means you're able to provide a specific information to them. You're able to perform some specific set of operations. क्योंकि रोज आपको कुछ ना कुछ नई टेक्निक मिलती है. You try to implement that. थोड़े हर्डल्स होते हैं ऑफिस में कभी कभी, नहीं ये नहीं करना वो नहीं करना, but at last when this has been implemented, then you get a happiness. Availability of the specific feature, capability, usability, security, scalability, and all the things will be there, right? So multiple things you are able to achieve, then I can say it is a value for you. And this is the way it has been work. अगर एक ही solution है तो ऐसे एक्सेप्टेंस क्राइटेरिया क्या है, उसका रिक्वायरमेंट क्या रहेगा, उसका टेस्ट कैसे होगा, और ये मेजर कैसे होगा. Requirement pass or fail, it is for the requirement, it is for the solutioning. Remember, don't be confused, it is for the requirement, it is for the solutioning. Requirement pass or fail तब होगा उसका वैल्यू उसको मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा. So यहाँ पर हम वो चीजें करते हैं. Mainly these things has been taken care by the testing team, but still on the high level, I also recommend that part. I do this thing in my day-to-day life. Once I write a story and my developer develop that story and they move it to the, what I can say, in the review phase, I review that story from the solutioning part on the high level side. And I say, yes, what I mentioned, what I written, it has been accepted now. We can go to the next level. Then assessment, testability. You perform the multiple tests, kind of a UAT, SIT, all the things. You measure that. अब मेजर कैसे करोगे? उसके वैल्यू के बेस पर कि बॉस मुझे कितना वैल्यू मिल रहा है, इसका बेनिफिट कितना हो रहा है मुझे इसको करने के बाद. The task which is required to be performed, I am able to perform or not. That is the measurement part here. In short, ये टेक्निक्स ऐसी हैं जिसमें कुछ ऐसा बड़ा नहीं है बताने वाला, क्योंकि हम यूज करते हैं डे टू डे लाइफ में. It is just given a structured and a formal name here. And you can see here the first benefit is called the agile methodology. क्योंकि आपको हर थोड़े दिन में कुछ ना कुछ नया टेस्ट करना है, तभी आपको वैल्यू रियलाइज होती जाएगी उसकी. ठीक है, ये बेसिकली आपका इवैल्यूएशन क्राइटेरिया आपका आरओआई भी डिफाइन करता है. बट प्रॉब्लम क्या रहती है यहाँ पे कि कई बार बहुत सारे एप्लीकेशंस होते हैं, मैं हर चीज टेस्ट नहीं कर सकता, मैं हर चीज इवैल्यूएट नहीं कर सकता. बिजनेस के साइड से मुझे इतना नॉलेज नहीं है, बिजनेस साइड से मुझे इतना इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं है, और राइटिंग एंड डिफाइनिंग ईच एंड एवरी एक्सेप्टेंस क्राइटेरिया इज गेटिंग बिट टफ नाउ. ओके जी, क्लियर पिक्चर यहाँ तक? हितेश एंड सूरज.
Yes.
And in this, my major stakeholders are the same which we discussed: my SMEs, my sponsors, my regulators, my product owners, my testers, my BA, everybody is there. And finally, I get a sign off. Okay, I'm happy to approve this requirement. It means now when I'm saying, or my stakeholder saying I'm happy to approve this, it means he accepted the risk. He accepted the assessment of the requirement changes. He accepted the solution. He accepted the requirement which is written in that format and saying, okay, go ahead and develop or deploy or build these things for me now. The actual development work has been started. Till now, there's no developer involved here. But after this, the development work will be started. So you can see here. design which agree by the stakeholder and are ready to use the subsequent business lines for the development efforts. Now the actual efforts will be development will be starting here. And with this we have completed the topic number chapter number 5 as well. So in this majorly we done the 5 main point. After the workshop, the work started that how I can trace my requirements. ट्रैकिंग कैसे होगी, रिकॉर्डिंग कैसे होगी, ऐसा देन आई सी इसको मेंटेन कैसे किया जाएगा, एक्सेल फॉर्मेट, वर्ड फाइल, विच फॉर्मेट आई हैव टू बी मेंटेन दैट पार्ट. देन वी डिस्कस दैट हाउ टू प्रायोरिटाइज इट, ग्रुप होगा, रैंकिंग होगी, नेगोशिएशन टाइप से होंगी. देन वी डू द असेसमेंट, रिक्वायरमेंट चेंजेस, अगर कुछ चेंज हो जाता है मेरी रिक्वायरमेंट देन हाउ आई हैव टू बी हैंडल दैट एंड फाइनली अप्रूव. नाउ अगर ये स्टेप होता है तो आपको ये सारे स्टेप दोबारा से करने पड़ेंगे, क्योंकि अगर फिर उसको प्रायोरिटाइज भी करना पड़ेगा, उसको अप्रूव भी करवाना पड़ेगा दोबारा से. ऐसा नहीं कि स्टैंडर्ड प्रोसेस, नो, दिस प्रोसेस वर्क विद एवरीवन. अगर आप यहाँ पर भी पहुंच जाते हो तो भी आपको चेंज होता है, तो भी आपको सारे स्टेप दोबारा करने पड़ेंगे. हो सकता है ये भी दोबारा करना पड़े कभी कभी कि बॉस रिक्वायरमेंट गैदरिंग दोबारा से करनी पड़ेगी, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है सोल्यूशन को लेके. ठीक है, क्लियर पिक्चर?
Yes, Atul.
सूरज, ऑल क्लियर?
Yeah, all clear.
Okay, now let me stop the recording here and we'll take attendance now.